political party, and they needed to make sure that he couldn't influence the 2024 election, and so he had to be in jail. Puffy had to be taken off the streets during election season because he started that black party, and neither Democrats or Republicans knew where he stood, and they couldn't afford to let him influence the outcome. And they had to pay him back for suing Diageo. So he wasn't locked up for this anyway. These charges were fabricated to make the case stick.
What about Kid Cudi testifying?
What did he say?
He said he had testified to Diddy blowing his car up. He said he came home one day and his dog was in the bathroom. Some kind of way Diddy got in his house, locked his dog in the bathroom. According to Kid Cudi, fed him some kind of additive that killed his dog later. Not then, but he said after
gradually.
Gradually killed his dog and moved the cameras around. And there was this big back and forth with him and Cassie. But my thing is, on one end, they paint Diddy, and of course, we don't defend Diddy. We're dealing with the information.
Yes.
One end, they say Diddy's this violent guy who's willing to kill about Cassie and kill everything about, harboring whatever is going on. And then on the other end, she runs off with Kid Cudi, and the car blows up, allegedly, according to them, and he does that. So what they're basically saying is, Kid Cudi said he asked Diddy about his car. He said he wanted to wait till he got in his face. And he said Diddy was standing there like a Blade or something, a black supervillain. He said this in court. Said when he got up on him and he shook his hand, he said, "Man, what about my car?"
Mm-hmm.
And Diddy said, "I don't know what you're talking about, Playboy." And that was the end of the interaction. But basically, Kid Cudi and Diddy had a checkered past due to his involvement with Cassie, but Kid Cudi, in his words, was scared of Diddy. Diddy had him terrified and would hurt people. So a lot of people in our culture,
which is understandable, but how do you prove it was Diddy?
It was
who poisoned
hearsay.
your dog?
I didn't even understand how it was allowed on the stand when it was all hearsay.
Because they don't have nothing. They don't have nothing.
They let him get up there and basically say, "I was told that Diddy blew the car."
Yeah.
No one was charged. No one knew.
No evidence.
And it's on a federal trial.
No police investigation.
And on a federal trial.
I don't think they have nothing, brother. I don't think they have nothing. I believe that this was punishment. And what do? Is they like to exhaust your wealth. They know how much you make because we ain't got no black banks, right?
Right.
They exhaust your wealth, or not many black banks. They exhaust your wealth enough to break you.
Do you think that they're coming for his fortune?
Of course.
And that's why they want to tie in the bad boy shit and the like you dealing with.
I wonder how much his lawyers are making per hour.
They knocking dust from him.
Do you feel me?
Yeah, they knocking
dust. And what percentage of his estate is being drained by this case? You see them? Don't get me wrong. You know what I think they want to do? They want to liquidate his assets to the point where they have to force him to sell his masters and his publishing. Same thing they try to do with Michael Jackson.
Do you think they're going to try to come get it? Because if they allege that you use bad boy records,
that your masters and your publishing
come with us with
was
this
earned as part of your RICO, which means they automatically fall under government control.
Yeah, you forfeit.
And we can sell them at auction to any. Ooh.
This is what I think they're trying to do because it feels like y'all tying in the organization.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it's like, what is that? When he was doing a freak off,
would force him
forfeit
to give up all
of
his masters and his
bad boy, all that shit. His whole
the liquor
fortune.
Company,
everything. And so even if we get 2 years out of him, 3 years, we still get all of that with the conviction.
It don't matter how much time.
That's what I'm saying.
We could give him a day because if we able to take his assets,
we win.
We win.
Yeah.
He can go home now.
That's what I'm saying.
You see what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Time already served.
That's what I'm saying.
But even with that loom, that's dangerous for other black men.
Yes.
Do you feel me?
Yes.
All we have to do, and this is why black people need to stop trying to throw Puffy under the bus. This is not about Puffy. It's about us. What do we know about the slave plantation? When they whipped the slave in front of the others, it was never about the slave. It's about the rest of y'all. If you let them convict Puff on RICO with the scantiest of evidence and allow them to take this man whole estate, publishing and masters, they can do that to anybody they feel
I'm
like.
almost certain they're coming for that. I'm almost certain.
It makes sense because look at why they killed Michael Jackson. Because he wouldn't give up the publishing, the masters. The Beatles and Elvis. He didn't want to give up his cut.
And he was trying to buy more.
Yes,
he was aggressively pursuing.
And they hit him with the child molestation when he tried to buy Marvel Comics. Imagine if Michael Jackson would have executive produced Black Panther.
Oh, man. Next level.
Mike was a gangster. One thing about Mike and Prince, man, is so interesting because they were somewhat effeminate in their public presentation. They were gangsters in the business room, bro.
Yeah.
There's no rapper more gangster than Michael Jackson when it came to business.
Period.
There's no rapper more gangster than Prince when it come to business, bro. They was gangster.
I remember, and it was back when we have technology to even enforce any move.
No internet or nothing.
So you had to go through
Remember when Eminem disrespected Michael Jackson over the allegations of sex abuse?
Yes.
I believe that's what it was.
I remember that.
Mike went and bought his publishing. Michael Jackson went and bought Eminem's publishing. Bro.
That's deep. That's deep.
But
deep.
But here's the problem, though. Mike and Prince should have been collaborators instead of competitors. Do you feel me?
Right.
Had they worked together, Loon, they might still be here. You can't beat white supremacy alone.
Right.
Prince was fighting solo. Mike was fighting solo. Whitney Houston fighting solo. You see that?
Yes.
You got to have a team.
Yeah.
It takes armies to defeat armies.
Yes. That's damn good, though. Wow.
Let me tell you something Puff should have done. If I'm a multi-billionaire mogul, especially if I know I'm doing some evil shit, Bad Boy is what? 20 years old, going on? You know the first thing Puff should have done? He should have found the 10 smartest kids in Harlem and paid for all of them to go to law school with a contract that when you graduate, you work for Bad Boy.
Yeah. See, we got to start
being
strategic like
that.
that.
We don't think right with the money.
Bullshit, man.
And the reason why does the problem with us alone, black men in particular, black women too, but especially us, our egos have been so destroyed and castrated. We have the most bruised ego in America.
Yes.
And because of that, we're constantly seeking validation.
Yes.
Why do we date white women? Validation. Why do we go to the PWI over the HBCU? Validation. Why do we move into the white suburb instead of staying in the ghetto where you ain't have to pay half the property tax? Validation. Why do we have to wear the most expensive clothes that they make? Validation. Why do black people own more Mercedes than whites? We own more Mercedes than whites. Make less and you ain't got a third of the wealth. Validation. So until the black man conquers his need for external validation, our egos will always be used against us.
I fight against mine because it's there.
You have to.
Yeah, I have to fight it.